Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Well done, OP. What an unexpected turn of events. Must have been quite satisfying to witness the confusion of those Belfast visitors as they realized they'd driven all the way to find a non-existent hotel. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. The hotel you wanted to stay at no longer exists. Back in the late 90s, I worked at a bar in a small town in rural Ireland. 500 people, 3 pubs, 1 hotel. It's a wee seaside village and quite picturesque and is therefore plagued by tourists during any holidays. We lived directly opposite the hotel. The hotel was about to be razed to the ground and rebuilt without these 60 years of nicotine stains. The demolition was due to start in January and the work due to be completed sometime in 2003. It's a small town. Everyone knows everything as long as it's about someone else's business. The hotel's reception phone number is 1 number away from my parents' landline number. It's New Year's Eve, or more accurately, 4 a.m. on New Year's Day. I'm home from my shift dealing with drunk Egypts that's, as this was the 90s, wanting nothing but Baileys and cream de menthe shots and Bacardi breezers, with the occasional Irish coffee and pint of Guinness that they'll order last as an afterthought and then complain about the wait. 4 a.m., my parents' living room. I'm having a wee decompress and a whiskey. Phone rings, instinct kicks in. Town name Harbor Bar, Happy New Year. A slurred Belfast accent winds into my auditory canal. For most people reading this, when you think of an Irish accent, you probably think of a Cork or Galway accent, nice and lyrical. This is not the case with a Belfast accent. Think of a dentist drill that runs on tonic wine ordering McDonald's through its nasal passages. All right, I've had a effing crackin' time tonight. We're booking the same nights for next year. Room 109, Jamie Jerkface. Sorry, mate. You'll have to bother. Town Name Hotel is closing in January and reopening in 2003, and the number for reception is 555-5545. This is a private residence. How the F would you know that? You said this was the bar. Just put me through to reception, you lazy C. Hey, F off, mate. I know, razor-sharp wit. Oscar Wilde would be proud. Hangs up, phone rings. Don't you effing dare hang up on me, you cow effer B-turd. Town Name Hotel reception is 555-5545. This is a private residence on 555-5554. Don't call again. This happens a few more times because the daft drunk jerk is just hitting redial. It escalates with varying degrees of profanity as we both have drink taken, me to a lesser extent. I unplug the phone from the wall. A few minutes pass. I'm formulating a plan. I plug the phone back in. Phone rings. I put on my best receptionist voice. Good morning, Town Name Hotel reception. How can I help you? Is that Mr. Jerkface in room 109? How can I be of service? That's better. I want to book for next year, same nights. Certainly, Mr. Jerkface. We even have a 50% loyalty discount as you're a previous guest. Same days? Effing right. Okay, that's all booked in for next year, arriving on the morning of the 31st, yes? Brilliant. Wonderful. We will see you then. That year, I went away to uni, came back for Christmas. Many things happened in the time in between, but then New Year's Eve came along. My folks and I were in the living room looking out at a gigantic hole that used to be a hotel, and our other windows look out over the bay, TBF, and having a few beers. A car we don't recognize pulls up opposite the hole where the hotel used to be, and 3 confused-looking Belfast spies get out beside the big hole where Town Name Hotel was. Something clicks in the back of my head, and I'm just fishing myself laughing. I explained the whole thing to my dad, who I'd relayed the story to. These effers drove about an hour to get here just to find out they've got nowhere to stay. We enjoy the show and open fresh 10s as they start screaming at each other in front of our house. I wonder what those 3 lads would have done if you went outside and yelled something like, "I told you that you had the wrong number," at them. And our second story. Shipping without being handled. Sure. This story's from close to 20 years ago, but it stuck with me from how bizarre it was at the time. It was the early 2000s. I worked in a very small company, 3 employees, including the owner, that operated entirely online. We created custom graphic items for personal and professional use based on designs provided to us by the customer, similar to laser-cut stickers. Most of our orders were submitted online through a website, but we also took orders over the phone. We often had crafters who would order from us who would incorporate our products into their crafts to then be sold at craft fairs or in craft shops. For example, they'd buy sheets of the alphabet in different fonts to customize plaques and the like. This story involves one such customer who placed her order over the phone. This was 20 years ago, so I paraphrased the conversation for the most part, since I can't remember specifics, but it was pretty close. I was the customer service associate, so I took all the orders. I picked up the phone with my usual cheery, "Thank you for calling company, this is OP, how may I help you?" Immediately, without a hello or anything, she launches into her order. I want 6 alphabet in font A at size 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 alphabet in font B at size 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7 alphabet in font Q at size 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, not the actual order, but an approximation of how rapid fire she was ordering. She went on in the fastest voice imaginable. I couldn't get a word in edgewise to ask her to wait so I could grab a sheet of paper to actually write down what the heck she was ordering. I was trying desperately to keep track of what she was saying while searching for a working pen and a notepad. She had a voice like a rusty lemon, if that makes sense. Her voice instantly made me envision Aunt Spiker from James and the Giant Peach with all the warmth and friendliness that entails. Anyway, she reels off a laundry list of separate things she wants to order in a myriad of sizes and fonts, and also some stock images we offered. It was going to be a pricey order. When she finally stopped talking, the only way I knew she was done ordering, I read everything back to her, updating the earlier stuff in the order that I hadn't been able to catch because of my desperate search for a pen. As I'm reading it back, I'm typing the order into our financial software to get a grand total for her. "Okay, ma'am, that comes to $100 plus shipping and handling, which is $30. "Yeah, shipping's expensive. I don't want to pay for that." "Sorry?" "I don't want to pay for handling." This was new to me. I'd had people argue about paying for shipping in the past, but never explicitly argue about paying for the handling. I'm sorry, ma'am, we can't ship you the items without handling them." "I don't want to pay for handling. Shipping's fine, but not handling." "Sorry, ma'am, I don't know what to tell you. We can't ship an item without handling it." She argued with me about this for 5 minutes before I finally said, "Let me see what I can do, ma'am. May I put you on hold?" My boss was not in, and the only other person in the office was at lunch, so I just made the executive decision to do what she wanted. I took a moment to get my thoughts in order, then got back on the phone. "Okay, ma'am, we'll only charge the shipping and waive the handling costs." She sounded as happy as a rusty lemon can sound. I told her I'd email the invoice along with the proofs of her order for her to approve before we actually cut the material, then hung up. I put together the digital proofs for her order and her invoice. We charged a flat shipping and handling rate for orders based on the total cost of the order, and I couldn't change it to take off the amount for handling. It was what it was. So on the invoice, I manually removed "and handling" from the line item that read shipping and handling and just left shipping $30. Then I created an additional row that said handling $0. I attached it all to an email and sent it to the customer, and half expected her to call me back and complain that the shipping cost alone came to as much as the shipping and handling combined, and that she wanted to cancel the order and I was a terrible person, blah, blah, blah. Well, that didn't happen, and we shipped her order out the next day. I told my boss about my solution to the weird problem, and he was fine with it. It came back to bite me, though, because that same woman called back regularly from that point on to order more products, and I had to manually edit her invoice each time. It was a hassle and a half. I left that job a few months later, but my first order from Aunt Spiker, the fast-talking anti-handler, has stuck with me in the years since. And our last story. The HOA tried to take our house by fraudulent means. A couple years back, my family had something happen. A week before Thanksgiving, we had a knock on the door and received notice that our house was going up for auction in a couple of weeks. To the best of our knowledge, we'd never missed a payment on anything. But when we contacted the county, a lien had indeed been in effect for about a year. So much for having LifeLock. Though it took many months to truly identify the root cause, in our case what happened is the HOA changed the billing date when they transitioned to a new system. This put us a day or two late each month when auto-paying. We never knew, and logging into the online system's homepage declared our account was in good standing. It was only when you went through your account settings and dug into the history screens that it became evident we had late fees accumulating. In the great state of Texas, we struggled to find a lawyer to help. HOAs are all-powerful entities and legal help exists only in one direction. To make it even worse, our HOA uses a truly incompetent, or just corrupt, management company. So I couldn't even appeal to the board members via email, phone, next door for help. Next, I reached out to the county. They have a whole page dedicated to home foreclosures, liens, and what to do. All these forms to protest with dead links. There I learned that although the city/county are well aware of the abuse, they cannot help. They had no idea why they even had form links on the website. The police were no help, as this is a civil matter. The post office was no contact due to COVID. Supposedly we had 3 certified mailings delivered, and the cost of each was charged to our account, but we most certainly did not get them. And nobody ever did produce a record confirming they were actually sent. So I reached out to the law office in Las Vegas that enacted the lien. The lawyer must have sensed my desperation. Hesitantly, he provided some context regarding the bad business practices of the HOA agency and offered up some names of the executives he dealt with. And then I was told by a lawyer that Texas law forbids foreclosure exclusively due to late payments, and they provided the criminal code for it. Armed with this knowledge, I hammered the management company's absentee phone lines, connected with other distraught people on Nextdoor, and Googled my way to the emails and phone numbers of the people the lawyer provided. It took weeks due to the holiday/COVID, but I eventually got in touch with the VP, who halted the auction after we paid several $1,000s. Getting the lien removed and a refund of some of the fees took many months and endless back-and-forth calls. Due to my complaining on social media, I did eventually get a call from the company president and went into great detail about the illegal/immoral goings-on with his company. He legitimately seemed horrified about it all, but his employees just kept screwing things up. The number of follow-up calls and nags to get it all sorted out was nuts, but it all ended well. It was a truly life-changing experience for us, and we came close to losing ourselves. Wow, this story's crazy. Glad you were able to sort it out in the end. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.